I cannot believe you get to be in the front row to watch these guys every night.
Well, think about it, Ross. My kids are going to go to college because their dad had to sit and watch Steph Curry play for a living. I mean, life is very, very good when that happens. That's for sure.
You know what's funny, Bob, is when we were doing NFL games together, whatever it was, 4 or 5 years ago, Golden State was just average, and I would talk to you about, man, what's that like? NBA, they don't give great effort all the time. And you said, hey, every night I see something that just makes your jaw drop. Now, Bob, you see something that makes your jaw drop pretty much every possession. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Well, the thing about it, Ross, is that, the Warriors now are linked with the Jordan Bulls. And when you watch Michael Jordan and you watch LeBron James and Karl Malone, you see these physical size and skill and things that are just hard to comprehend. But you say, wait, that guy's 6'6", or that guy's 6'8". Steph Curry is 6'3", $180, and he walks amongst us as a normal human being. Now, you played the NFL and you played O-line, so, you're a bigger guy in the first place. But there's relatability to Stephen from grandparents to grandkids to guys, girls, teenagers, people that play basketball, the whole bit. And he does things from a skill level and a shooting level that really are hard to comprehend. And much like Jordan was this transcendent figure who is on a pantheon by himself, Steph is there. He is very close. And he's just shooting the basketball like no one we've ever seen in the game, and then a will and an ability to dominate where, okay, you're in San Antonio, it's the worst building he's ever played in terms of stats. It's the toughest shooting. It's against the best defensive team. It's against a team that's undefeated at home, and he rolls out 37 to tie the Bulls with 72 wins, and he's now going to be the first MVP to increase his scoring by the largest margin in NBA history, surpassing Larry Bird. So it just is amazing to watch. It's super fun. And everybody, they're the Beatles when they travel. No, it's like Michael Jackson met Springsteen, met Justin Bieber, met Selena when we travel. It's just unreal. People show up 2 hours early to watch Steph Curry warm up. It's like the first time we've had basketball batting practice where there's several thousand people in a building.
Yeah, I was going to say that. We're talking with Bob Fitzgerald. I was going to ask you that. He's the Golden State Warriors TV play-by-play man, a good buddy of mine, Notre Dame grad, I might add. And I'm curious, Bob, what is it like? Because, you're on the team playing, you travel with the team. What is it like? Give me some examples. Give me some stories of what it's like at the team hotel. I can't even imagine right now.
Well, I'll give you two of them. Is that we were at a dinner in Philadelphia, and the Warriors were on a lower level of this restaurant, and from the upper level in a balcony, a father and son had like a fishing rod, and they had a little card with a pen and said, "Steph, would you please sign this?" And they lowered the card like via the fishing rod from the upper deck down to the lower deck of this restaurant. So Steph's got a piece of steak in his mouth, and all of a sudden this card is being lowered down by a fishing rod. Please sign this. Now, I thought that was pretty ingenious and pretty funny. We were at a hotel on the road a couple months ago, and the players' floor, similar like when the NFL travels, but the NBA players' floor at a hotel is usually the guys on our team, a part of our traveling party, and the players are put on the same floor. And some enterprising teenagers had secured the room next to the elevator on this floor, well in advance somehow. And they had the door kind of cracked open. And so every time a Warrior would come down the hallway to go to the elevator for whatever reason, shoot around or the team breakfast or just to go out, they would pop out of their room to take pictures and get autographs until the team finally had to tell hotel security, hey, wait a minute, there's 6 teenagers in this hotel room that basically have scoped out the Warrior locale here. So, 3 in the morning in Cleveland, you arrive and there's 2,000 people waiting outside the hotel, and it's 10 degrees outside. I've been in the league 22 years. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, and I don't picture it ending anytime soon, Bob. I don't know how this would affect your job, and if it affects it a lot, then I don't want it to happen. But I honestly think, Bob, that the NBA should put them on national television every game next year. I mean, they're the only team in the NBA that I will stop and I will watch because I want to watch. And it's not just Steph. I mean, he's the main guy, but just the way they play overall, it's just so fun to watch. What do you think about my theory of putting them on national TV every night?
Well, I mean, first of all, your perceptive, Princeton guy would not surprise me, is that, the Warriors are blowing through every TV record there is. Just an idea, not to bore people, but CSN Bay Area here in San Francisco, it's the fourth largest market. And when the Giants in 2010 clinched against the San Diego Padres, they had a 10.6 rating. The Sunday game against San Antonio, the Warriors did an 18.9.
Wow.
And so the top 15 events in the history of this network are all Warrior games from this year. The game also Sunday was the largest viewed game in the history of NBA TV. And so you're getting to record-setting interest levels, and we're not even to tomorrow night where they go for 73. So, yes, between ESPN and TNT, CSN Bay Area, you are not alone in really the commonality, much like Tiger in golf probably, that everyone says, I'm kind of interested in the NBA, but I'm really interested in the Warriors. And to become kind of America's team when we travel or people want to watch because of Steve Kerr and the leadership and the unselfishness and the way they play, and they're good offensively and they're good defensively and they're good guys and they get along and they have fun and they're ascending into their prime because nobody on the team as a core player is old. And so it could go on for quite some time. And it really is special. It's like almost what a high school team would be, and that is Steph Curry setting the tone like a Tim Duncan did with San Antonio. When your superstar is in the mix, like when you play with Tom Brady, Tom's a transcendent player, but also one of the guys. And that's hard for stars. You always talk about the alpha male in the NBA. Steph Curry, he kicks it with all 12 guys on the roster, and you can't teach that.
How important is it to them to break the record? I mean, watching them Sunday night, it looked like this is something that they really want to do.
Draymond Green started this a couple weeks ago, and I got to tell you, the Red Wings had the record and didn't win the Cup. The Patriots went 16-0, didn't win the Super Bowl. The Mariners won 116 games, didn't win the World Series. Only the Bulls at 72-10 went on to win the championship. So my idea was, why are they sprinting in mile 21 of a marathon? This record, hey, it'd be great, but you got to rest guys. You got to be smart about minutes. You don't want anybody getting hurt. I mean, you got to win 4 7-game series to win an NBA championship. Why would you want this? And Draymond Green kind of came out publicly and said, I want to be known as a winner. That's what I want. At the end of my career, I want to be known as a winner. And if we win 73, that's the greatest winner or winning team in the history of the sport. And we'll never be this close again. Now, a year ago, they won 67 games. 10 teams have won 67 in 70 years. Every one of those teams won fewer games the year after. The Warriors are the first team of those 10 to exceed their win total. And so Draymond publicly said, I don't need to rest. I want this. I want to be a winner. And he told the guys, the team has a group chat that they text. Everybody's on it. And he just said, if you need to rest or you're dinged up, whatever, it's totally cool. But I want to go for this. And everybody kind of jumped on his shoulders and said, yeah, let's do it. And that's kind of been their mindset.
Talking with Bob Fitzgerald. He's the play-by-play guy for the Golden State Warriors out there on CSN Bay Area. Bob, who's the biggest threat? You watch this team every game. Who's the biggest threat, in your opinion, from them winning the title this year?
Well, Ross, I mean, last year it was the route was New Orleans, Memphis, Houston, Cleveland. And now with the results last night, it's going to be either Utah or Houston in the first round, probably Houston. So you think about 4 7-game series. Harden and Dwight Howard and Trevor Ariza and Corey Brewer and a Rocket team that was in the Western Finals. You have to play them in round 1. Then Blake Griffin and Chris Paul and a Clipper team that's now top 3 defensively. That's round 2. Then the San Antonio Spurs, 19 straight 50-win seasons, 5 championships, Popovich, Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge. That's round 3. And then you might get LeBron again with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love in round 4. Wow. I mean, that route to a championship would be incredibly difficult. But what you get back to is, can any of those teams beat the Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series?
Right.
They can make them bleed. I mean, they can grab a game or two. But this team is 39-2 in each of the last at home in the last 2 seasons. The Warriors are 34-7 on the road. That's the most road wins ever in NBA history. They're going to get one in your building. And so that means you got to beat them twice in their building. And I don't know if the math works on that. I think they will be tested. 2 years ago, Dallas in a 1-8 matchup took the Spurs to 7 games in round 1. That's how difficult the Western Conference is. So, they could stumble because of this tremendous effort to get this record. But is a team going to beat them 4 times in a 7-game series? I don't know, man. I mean, they're a pretty special team on offense and defense and team chemistry-wise, and they're healthy right now. I would like the Warriors' chances in a lot of those series and a lot of those matchups.
So what's the long-term threat here, Bob, for them not being like this for the next 4 or 5 years? What can prevent this team from being, going on, an epic run over the next few years? Anything?
Pat Riley with the Lakers, he talked about the disease of me. And that's where people start to worry about their fame and their endorsements and their contracts and, what about me and where do I fit in and jealousy and, this person gets too much shine and I don't get enough. With the Warriors, I don't see that. With Steph Curry being the MVP and the Under Armour spokesman and having all the endorsements, Klay Thompson is the perfect Batman Robin. He's an elite player and doesn't really seek the limelight. Draymond Green is the heartbeat and the passion of the team. But if you had 7 of those guys, it would be crazy. But you've got 1. You've got tremendous veterans like Andre Iguodala and Andrew Bogut. And the general manager for the Warriors, Bob Myers, used to work for Arn Tellem, is a phenomenal player agent before he became a GM. They've staggered the contracts. And so you don't have 5 guys coming up for free agency all at the same time. And they've paid Andre Iguodala and Andrew Bogut, and then Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, and after next year, Stephen Curry will come up. So I think structurally they're in good shape. They have an ownership in Joe Lacob and Peter Guber that write the check every time so that it won't be the lack of money. The team is moving into a new arena in San Francisco in 2019. The fan base, they've sold out, for almost 200 games and counting. I don't know that something gets derailed other than, sports. Hey, it's a knee injury or a back injury or an Achilles injury or something to a key player. But no, they should be in the mix, for a long time. And the Spurs really are the barometer. 19 years of excellence, 5 championships in that run. The Patriots are a barometer. I mean, teams that are just in the hunt every single year. And I think this is 4 straight playoff years for the Warriors. That's the goal. You're not going to win a title every year, but be one of those teams where you're in the hunt legitimately every single season. And as long as Steph Curry is kind of leading the way, you'd have to say that they're going to be there.
Bob, really appreciate the time. Keep having fun, man. I'm happy for you that they are this good. Thanks so much.
Hey, Ross, anytime. Great talking to you. And tell Dan, I was in London with him for the NBC Olympics. He's always been one of my favorites. Just an honor to be on the show.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.